Hmm?
Where's Paluca? I've never heard of it.
Toluca.
Toluca. Oh.
Toluca. It's about an hour and a half outside of Mexico City.
And how long did you live there?
Oh, I think it was about a year.
So 3 years out of the city.
Then I lived in 8 months in Monterey.
Oh.
And we went to the American school there. That was the first schooling we had in Mexico that was in English. And then we moved into Mexico City.
So first you moved near Juchitán,
In
Oaxaca.
and you were there for a few months.
That's right.
And you did not go to school there.
No.
You just played gin rummy.
It's gin rummy
That's
school.
right.
And
And we played hopscotch, and we played all of those, anything we could.
And the pilots felt sorry for you.
They had what?
The pilots felt sorry for you.
Oh, yes, and they used to, but they felt sorrier for the parrot they got for us from
This
a
is in
bar,
Oaxaca.
From a bar.
So you already had the airport was finished, so the pilots were showing up, huh?
The pilots were American pilots.
They were already there. Okay.
No, they weren't there. They were coming through.
Oh, okay.
And
Going where? Where were they going?
South America, Central and South America.
And they brought you. I'm gonna fix your hair because we're videoing.
Thank you.
And they brought you lots of pets like parrots and a
okay.
cat.
What
was
pets?
Your pets.
What pets did they bring you?
Oh, well, no, they didn't bring us a pet. We gave them the cub tiger.
Well, where did
The
that
mountain
come
lion?
from?
What?
Where did you get the tiger?
That was given to us by a local.
Okay.
It was a
No,
mountain lion or a jaguar?
The pilots didn't give us anything. What they brought was liquor for the parrot.
Right.
Liquor.
You get it drunk.
And the parrot was from a bar. And we didn't know that until later, but it was saying terrible things. And Don picked up on plenty of them. Anyway, so the parrot would get tight and get up in the rafters and go back and forth and finally fall off its perch. They were terrible. They were kids. They were flying these planes and, they were all so young that they didn't take anything seriously. And, but we gave the cub tiger to one of them, because, they needed a mascot and we wanted to get rid of the tiger.
Was it a tiger or a mountain lion?
A mountain lion.
Mountain lion.
Yeah. And it was a cub. But they had to wear big gloves, to take it away.
Yeah.
And actually it finally, it did the parrot in.
It killed the parrot?
Yeah, it broke its beak, but the parrot would try to talk anyway, so,
Well, didn't the parrot whistle taps?
no. The parrot in the morning would have a terrible hangover, and it'd get up on the rafters and it would say, Maria, quiero mi chocolate. I want my chocolate. And we had,
But didn't the parrot whistle taps, and then after its beak was broken, it couldn't whistle taps anymore?
Yeah, no, it wasn't taps. It was the
Reveille.
call in the
The
morning.
reveille, yes.
Da 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 da. You know how they march up and down.
Oh, golly.
And so after the pilots would come through, we would have a serenade the following morning, and it was such a culture shock. I mean, there were people, the workers on the field, they would come in after work and completely naked. They'd stand under the water spouts from the tanks that they had water in and bathe, and the women would wash their clothes down in the river without any tops. And if we went into they had a little Oaxaca, not Juchitán, but Ixtapec, Oaxaca was about 2 streets long. and that, I mean, it was unpaved. It was just a disaster, dusty and awful. And the one place that people would meet, they sold Coca-Colas, and that was big deal. And they had a movie house that cost 10 centavos to go to the movies, and you sat on benches and the rats would come over your feet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there was a whole wall out. They only had it, you could only see movies at night because the wall was gone. And then there was a Japanese who had the only pharmacy.
A Japanese.
Yeah, and we were all afraid of him because he might be
Japanese.
an enemy and
Yeah.
poison. And,
Where did you sleep?
Oh, we slept in barracks on the out near the military camp.
In
Yeah. Yeah.
Oaxaca.
Hmm. And if the men were not happy with their work, with their pay or whatever, they would take the flags from the runway, and the next week or so you'd find them all with these dyed red drawers. Because their wives would make pants from them.
And red curtains.
And they would fade.
Uh-huh.
Just wild
I'll
things.
bet Gigi didn't like it there too much.
Oh, she was absolutely insane. She was so upset. No, she packed with hats, gloves, these very, very swish stockings and shoes and the whole
Opera
9
gloves.
yards. She
Carmen
got-
Miranda.
Huh?
Carmen
Oh,
Miranda.
Yes, they were a lot of, at that time there were a lot of movies about South America and doing the Carioca and Javier Cugat and that sort of thing. So he didn't tell her that it was a dump,
What?
that we were going to be in barracks.
So
And here she
basically,
was with her hats and her gloves. Can you
he-
imagine?
yeah, he basically,
Oh.
sold her a false bill of goods, huh?
Oh, basically.
Good.
Yeah.
And more than once.
Oh,
And
she would never have gone.
so he had already been there, or was that the
Oh,
first
yes,
time he was
He'd
there?
been there
Well, he
for
knows
about
what
8
he knows what
months,
Mexico's like.
finishing the job.
I see.
No. So, but there were so many.
And then you went to Merida,
Yeah.
and in Merida you stayed where? Where did you live?
First, half of the time that we were there was on the Paseo Montejo, which is the main boulevard, and all of the houses there, everything was imported from Italy and from France. They were mansions, absolute mansions. I mean, Carrara marble on the floors, or statuettes, I mean, everything. And so we stayed there for about, I guess, 6 months or so. And then we had to get out of there because Don was like a bull in a china closet. He broke one of the statues, and I think that was the end of that. So.
And I remember that you went to school.
Oh yes, they would come to get us in a carriage,
Drawn by
by a horse or a pony
or a donkey.
And this was every day. They called them cochicalesas.
Your Uber.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your Uber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then bring us home.
And these were public schools that you attended?
No, they were private.
I see.
And no, and the people came that we were students with. They were people from nice families. I mean, they weren't Indians.
Well, let me ask you something. It was most of the people that you were interacting with were middle class, but they came from a society that had made a fortune with hemp, right?
Henneken, yes.
And then that industry caved,
Well,
right?
Plastic came in
And that's
and ropes, all of the big ropes.
nylon.
Yeah, it
Done.
wiped them out. Absolutely wiped them out. They had, they were living like kings. There.
That was their industry, was hemp.
Oh, I mean, truly. Well, they were European small cities, but very sophisticated.
And the homes were palatial.
Yeah.
Palatial.
Oh, Don and I used to go up to the top attic. We weren't supposed to, of course, and they had a stage up there, and they put on, they didn't do it anymore, but they had at one time produced theatricals, and they had costumes that were absolutely, you couldn't believe how beautiful they were in trunks. And
In the meantime, my mother had very few clothes.
I had what?
Very few clothes.
Oh, yeah, because nothing fit me.
Oh, you're
Nothing.
too big?
Shoes, I mean,
They're teeny people, and you're
they have
large.
wider feet and smaller, and finally my feet stopped growing, so that made me happier. But no, we had problems with our clothing and the heat. It was so humid. What was like Miami with no air conditioning, and it was very oppressive.
And you had your cenote below.
Hmm?
You had a river going underneath the house, right?
A cenote.
Oh no, not underneath it. That was in when we moved from the palace on
Avenida Montejo.
Paseo Montejo.
Oh.
Hey, Nena, I see you. We moved to a big tract of land. It was an orchard, and had also a European home on it. It was very, very beautiful. Old and neglected, but had been very beautiful at one time. And they had a cenote, which is, what do they call them now?
Underground river.
There's swimming
Sinkhole.
holes.
A sinkhole.
Yeah.
Sinkhole,
But
yeah.
with a top on it. I mean, it had fallen. It was a cave with all this underground water.
Mm-hmm.
And the people had illuminated it and put changing rooms down
So
there.
it's like a swimming
Wow.
pool, huh?
Yeah, and it had all these palatial stairs that went down, with columns on either
Wow,
side. I mean,
fancy.
you felt like you were going to the underworld, but in splendor.
Like Hollywood. Hollywood.
And
We have photos
the
of
temperature
that.
of the
Wow.
water, the temperature of the water was always very pleasant. And when it was cold, it was, very temperate, very comfortable. And when it was hot as the dickens, it was cool and refreshing. It was, and then that's where we had all these fruit trees, all kinds of tropical fruit. And so Don and I were given the chance to sell all the fruit, and we would get the money. So Don was very enterprising. He would go out, and sure enough, we'd sell it, and some of it was excellent. And we had a guayaba tree right off the hammock room. We had a hammock room with about 10 hammocks in it, where people slept in the summertime when they couldn't stay in the bed. It was too hot. And the smell of that guayaba, I can still smell it to this day. It was like a cloud. The fruit would fall in such abundance and so ripe and so beautiful that it perfumed the whole neighborhood. And so many memories.